Like, how are you going to sell that wine? Your wine is overpriced. You're just coming into this industry. You think you know what you're doing. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I felt my mom is like an oracle. So I felt her energy like in me. And I was just, I had to go in and I was just letting him know, let me tell you something, sir. You about to see me do amazing things all over this world. It's not, I was just letting him know, like, you don't even know who you talking to. Like, you don't even know the power that I possess as a queen, sir. You're gonna see what this wine is about to do. Everything you're telling me, it doesn't matter because you don't know.
Yes, sir, man. Welcome to Success is Us. This channel is all about success, providing you with knowledge, motivation, and inspiration, so you can become successful. You feel me? And today is gonna be a real good episode. I've got a really special guest, Camillya, entrepreneur, been featured in Black Enterprise, Afrotec, products all over United States. The first Black owned winery in Charlotte, Illinois. I said Charlotte, Illinois. Charlotte, Carolina. Yeah, you
Yes.
can go ahead, introduce yourself further.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. My name is Camillya Masunda. I am the founder and CEO of Ebony Wine and Spirits, and we are the first Black-owned wine and spirits company in North Carolina. We celebrate Black unity and culture across the globe to promote unity and our heritage all over the world within our wine and spirits. So completely through our wine, that's our mission.
Yeah, that's what's up. So let's get straight to it, man. So how did all of this start?
I would say really it started back in probably my college years of falling in love with wine
Yeah,
and really having those experiences from going to different wineries or just hanging out with your friends. And then I just started noticing, us not being a part of an industry. Or you go to different events and you didn't see any Black or brown faces,
yeah.
and just not really knowing too much about wine. And it was something that I was curious about. So even after college, I kind of would kind of get those thoughts of what if I could, change the dynamic of what that looked like. And I just started to pick up more wine, study more wine. And the more I studied, the more I looked back at the industry, we got less and less. I never saw, us. And the more I studied, I saw that we were the 1%. So the more you went into different stores, it would be hundreds of bottles of wine,
Yeah.
zero black and brown faces.
Wow. Wow. So how many states are you in currently?
So we direct to consumer ship. That's all over the U.S. And then as far as states, we have cleared distribution for about 3 more states. So we're in from North Carolina to California to New York and Florida.
Wow.
So that's the hard part. And yeah, we're slow and steady wins the race. So we're very excited about that because when you get distribution in a state, that just opens up so many windows because you know how big a state is, and all of those cities you're able to get stores, restaurants, hotels, you name it, to carry your products, which is really huge because then it really starts the conversation about who we are and what we represent and kind of opening that narrative of the 1%, but even being able to share our story through our wine, but even to get more people who are in wine kind of connected within that industry also.
Okay, okay. And anybody from any state, like you said, can order it, correct?
Yes. We just cleared a major restock because we've been sold out for a while, for about 2 months now. Thank you everyone for all your love and support with Ebony Wine and Spirits. You guys have been just tremendous. But yeah, we have a major restock that drops on the 18th. And so our fingers are crossed. We just hope that everybody comes in and does the same thing and give us that same tremendous amount of support. So yeah, at 9 o'clock on the 18th, all of our wines will be restocked online.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get back into the business Ebony Wine and Spirits. But I want to know a little bit more about you. You feel me? So,
Okay.
so you said you were raised in North Carolina?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Raised here in Charlotte, my family, but still raised with the African family. My family is from the diaspora, Congo, Kinshasa to be exact. So of course, I'm the only girl out of six brothers, and I'm the youngest. So raised in a household of boys, and then your strict African parents. So you know how that goes.
Yeah. So, were there any entrepreneurs around you? Like, what got you into entrepreneurship?
I don't really come from a family of entrepreneurship. When it comes to entrepreneurship, I was one of the first ones in my family to kind of, well, especially in my immediate family, to branch off. My first business was called Spa Do the Kids Spa. I partner in that with my daughter. It's a spa for where we pamper girls from toddlers to teens and everything in between. I started that, and then where I've always worked in childcare. So I got my mom to step out on faith with me, and we opened our child development center
Wow.
called
Okay.
Cultural Giving Tree.
How old were you when that happened?
I opened it in 2016. Yes. So yeah, I opened the Cultural Giving Tree in 2016.
All right.
So I was still in my late 20s when that happened. So that was, that was the spa was big, but the daycare was in our school, being the first Afrocentric child development center here in Charlotte. That was just a really big leap of faith. And so, yeah, that's amazing, because to be able to get your parent to kind of leave her comfort zone of what she knows, if you know anything, with having parents, they're kind of stuck in their ways, in the sense of, I like my job security. I like being able to go to work, knowing that this paycheck is coming in. And so just to get her to step out on faith and kind of invest into our dream, was also majorly her dream.
Yeah.
Being able to get her to believe that, hey, we can do this, was really big for us.
Did she like quit her job completely, or like went part time? And
She quit her job completely.
oh,
Yes, but it was so pretty much at her job that she was doing. I watched her run businesses for
yeah.
other people for so long. I watched her help open other child development centers. I watched her literally. The only thing she didn't do at the old daycare that we worked at was own it. And so it's for me to step out and for me to tell her, like, hey, yeah, you can, I believe that you can do this. I'm gonna be there with you every step of the way. We can do this.
Yeah.
And she trusted me in that situation. And so she's very business minded. She probably, won't give herself credit for that, but she's very business minded. And it was just like that leap of faith and that push.
Yeah. Okay. So then, when did you start Ebony Wine and Spirits?
So we officially launched Ebony Wine and Spirits in 2020. I started as far as doing my research and establishing different things, as far as learning what I needed to do, probably back in 2018.
Yeah.
But we launched during the pandemic.
All right. And so you were first introduced to, like, your first taste of wine was in college?
Definitely.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, it was like, I'm pretty sure it was in college.
Yeah. So what about it that had you so, like,
I just love, like, I can actually tell you what was the wine called? It was like a breeze. It was something breeze. And I just remember having this big bottle, of wine. And I just remember sitting around and looking at my friends and us drinking. I just remember us always getting this wine, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember like looking on the table. I would be the one to kind of look at the bottle and be like what company is, like, who owns it. I'm just a curious person. So, and I always not worry about dollars, but I always have had in my mind, like, I think about Black owned dollars. I just think about it a lot. It's a second nature thing. And I'm always like, who owns this? Like, I wonder who owns this. And so the more it kind of just kept nicking at me every time we went to the store. And I used to walk down the aisles And you're looking at the prices, you're looking at the wine, and you're getting like, when you're in college, you're probably getting the brightest wine, or either the wine that has like the highest alcohol content. And so, I just started being curious, like, we don't know anything about these, products, or whether it be liquor or whether it was wine. I just always have been like curious in the sense of ownership, like who are we supporting in this? Even when, of course, when you're young, it's just always been in the back of my head. And so that really kind of having those aha moments, but really starting to, for me, if something like grabs me, it'll really start to pull at me like nonstop in the back of my head until I kind of move on it or look it up or do something about it.
Yeah. So, how did we get from, oh, you're intrigued, you see the bottle, to you start your own, your own wine company?
That definitely took some years.
Yeah.
I'm a note taker. So I'm always in the store, and you would always see me like buying an extra notebook, like a random tablet or journal or something. And so I just jotted it down. Like, I want to create my own wine. I want to have my own wine. I want to have my own wine company. And I would just write down different names, and, kind of not even at that time being back in college and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't per se so deep into it, but I remember just going to like sipping paints or trapping paints. And that's what they were, calling it, like kickbacks. And so it would just literally be eating at me. And so I would just write down a little more stuff about something every day, like, what the name of this brand was. I just would remember, and I would write it down until I came back with it. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen then, obviously, but it really didn't happen till a few years later. Till again, it was by this time I had the spa and I had the daycare already, and it was just something that was still niching at me, eating at me. And to the point where I saw some Black owned, saw one or two Black owned wines, but it just ate at me to the point where, remember, I'm obviously making a little more money. You can go to vineyards and you're traveling and going to different places. So now you're really seeing, like, at these vineyards, you're never seeing, for me, I was never seeing a face again that looked like me. And so I would want to know, like, why don't we have a story within grapes? If you start, for me, it was like, hey, we have a story almost in everything, a background of how we created something, especially when it comes to planting things or growing things. Minorities have, Black people, melanated people have a story in that. And I just never saw or heard the story as far as Black people having their, face in wine. And so the more I started researching, seeing a number 1%, that'll do something to you.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you were 1% in like in music, just 1% in anything makes you like, oh my God, like what in the world is going on? To the point that we are only 1% of this industry. That's a huge 1% is like literally nothing.
And we're 12% of the population.
Yeah, what you say? Sorry.
I said, and we're 12% of the population.
Exactly. And so it was just it just ate at me until the point where I just said, like, hey, Google is everything. So I started like, so what would it take? So what would I have to do? And Google's not going to give you all of those answers, but you can start calling around. And that's what I did.
Yeah. Okay. So what about it? Like, why didn't you start? You said it was like irking you and like bothering your spirit for years. And I feel like a lot of people go through that. You feel me? They have this idea or this plan that's in them, but they're just not acting on it. Why weren't you acting on it, you feel like?
At that time, again, I'm a mom. So at that time, just having different things, and just because you can't or don't have the resources to fully act on something at that time doesn't mean that you won't do it. It just means that you have to put yourself in a position to be able to do this. So whether that means studying something else, whether that means is because as a parent, I still needed to make an income for my daughter. No matter what dreams and ambitions I had, I still have responsibilities. Okay. So, and I still had, the family. I got my mom to leave the whole job, her whole career. So that doesn't mean that I just get to put all my dreams ahead of me right now. It doesn't mean that I have to stop working in the sense of on this vision, but it just means that, hey, you have to, if this is something that you're seriously about, it's going to always present itself. Your gifts will always make room for you, and so will your dreams. And so, to answer your question, why didn't I? That wasn't the time. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
And so when it's the right time and the right moment, just like your friends or people in general, you'll know when it's time, and those resources will kind of unfold themselves. The answers to all your questions for you to do that is going to be laid out. They're going to lay themselves out in front of you, so that you'll be able to say, hey, okay, well, I see this type of resource. I see this opportunity. Let me take this opportunity. And oftentimes when it comes to, us not doing that, it's not that per se we don't have the resources. It's us saying, okay, well, I put it off a while ago. I don't know if that's something I can still do now.
Yeah.
I just said yes to something I felt strongly about. And that's for me and my energy. Like, that's what I have to do when it's something that, like, it's talking to me or eating at me. So it was something that I had to I had to revisit. And not saying that you're going to always have all the resources, but you're going to use the resources you have to create that opportunity.
Yeah. And hearing you, you're very family orientated. You feel me? So,
Oh yeah, very much so.
yeah. And I know that you're so most of your business is run by your family, and even your daughter is a big part of your company. So yeah, talk to me about how important that is to you.
Family is everything because of legacy. And even if, when I say family, blood doesn't necessarily make someone like you're my family because of that. I
Yeah.
have great, close friends or people who I built with. Our COO, James Powell. He's like my brother, and that's my family. So just having people who have that same belief system, that same drive as you, and that same passion within what you do or what you create. But for me, family is everything. I think I saw too often and heard too often that story about, hey, my family used to have all this land
Yeah.
down in the country or something like that. They saw somebody in our family sold 20 acres of land. They used to own all of this back in the day or whatever. And for some reason, when I was a little kid, hearing stories like that always stuck with me, because I always told myself, whatever I build, my family has to hold on to it. That's how I talk to my nieces. That's how I talk to my nephew. That's how I talk to my daughter. You are not allowed to sell anything that I built. It has to stay in the family.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I want them to have that leverage. Especially in the US, when we talk about systematic racism and things like that, and we talk about not having a leg up. It's our job right now in my generation to give my next 5 generations a leg up. So what I do now determines what they're going to have. I don't want them to have to start from the bottom. I don't want them to have to start where I started. So making sure that the family has a emotional connection, and a connection from the sense of building, like even at our winery, our urban winery, like even in the building stage, they're there with me. They're painting, they're hammering, they're nailing, because I need for them to feel that attachment in a sense of, hey, I put sweat equity in this too. I don't want to sell it. You know what I'm saying? To the point, like, yeah, this is not an option.
Yeah. And you hear all the time that, like, and I feel like it's more with the Black community than it is with other people, because you hear we see Asian and Indian communities, families coming together and having a family owned business, but Black people a lot of times say, oh, don't do business with family, don't do business with friends. How do you feel about that? Like, why do you feel that
I
people feel that way?
I feel that because, I mean, you have to understand the history of the Black family, a diameter when it comes to the mother, the father, the things that were put in place to separate the Black family in general.
Yeah.
Instead of when you compare us to the Latino family or to an Asian family or to a Indonesian family, you have to understand that when it comes to the history of the Black family and the separation, and all the things that were put in place to divide this family. So it takes, a certain generation to make sure that it's rebuilt, that it's built strong, that it's built when it comes to like the foundation of energy and spirituality and different things like that, but and the foundation of love.
Yeah.
To build a strong attachment with each other. So in that sense, to me, it's about healing that family diameter first, before you can talk about business. Because to put a family who has all these things of why I don't talk to this person or why I don't talk to that person, that's a damaged family. So that's like if you have some wood or something like that, or you have a better concept, a loaf of bread, and you have some spoiled loaves of bread in there. You can't keep those spoiled loaves of bread, because at the end of the day, those spoiled pieces are going to spoil the rest of the bread.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, what we need to do is either one, remove negative energy and remove those people. And then we need to, hey, let's build afresh. So if they have any type of toxicity when it comes to the family diameter, then you need to go ahead and remove that, because that is going to be the base. I think if you get the love and the respect right in that foundation part, then business becomes easy. Because for me, business and family, they do go together. Because we have a strong respect for each other, but we have a common goal, and that's building generational wealth within our family. But that comes with the love and the respect that is within our family from each other too.
Okay, yeah, I like that answer. I like that. So you finally decide that you're gonna start this business, right? First of all, how do you come up with the name?
Looking up, so when I started thinking about it's so many different words for Black. And remember, our thing is our mission is to celebrate celebrate Blackness, but in this global concept, because Black people, melanated people, are all over the world. It's so crazy how we can just say Black, right? Because Black people are not just Black. There's so many different things. Like it's literally probably the most diverse race ever, because we're all over this world and we look so different, and we have so many different languages and so many different foods and music and all this stuff. That's what makes us so unique. And so I just knew I wanted to create something that celebrated our melanin, but also celebrated our history and our heritage, and the concept of being so broad and so so big. And so to me, that was Ebony, like in it, the essence of it. And so it just spoke to me again. The energy is just speaking to me when it came out. Like when I kept researching, and I always got to keep a notebook. So I just started writing down stuff. I started writing down words. I started putting them together. And then if you can see right here, it says the essence of darkness enriched with smooth and plentiful with the taste of melanin. Captured in wine, submerged in a bottle of pure elegance. That's Ebony. Yeah. So when I literally wrote this down, and the Ebony it spoke to me. Yeah. Nothing else stood out. And I went through languages and everything, and I was just like, it's Ebony. That's what it is. So that's how I came up with the name.
Okay. This whole wine company it just seems so complicated to me. Like I can't imagine what the process is. So can you talk about the process is like finding a manufacturer for the bottles, the licenses, all that?
You just did it. You just did it. You said all the answers. You just gave a whole play on what you need to be doing. Yeah. If you're considering this, I can't go into in depth about everything that I did, because it's a lot. I when somebody has a product or whatever, I can make this look so easy. Yeah. I can give it to you and tell you go do this, right? And then you get it and you say, what? How do I do it? I gotta go back. What am I supposed to do? So you see this bottle and you see a finished product.
Yeah.
But for me, I see blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This was not it. Like the answers, it's a lot of closed doors. It was no playbook for me. You know what I'm saying? Even with the researching things online, it was a lot of closed doors. It was a lot of unanswered questions until, even with distribution, nobody's there to answer my questions. But it was till I started, again, going back to my notes, reading, jotting down everything, even from looking up words, because now I tell everybody I'm a student of wine, because you have to know so many things. Because now if you're creating a wine, if you're custom crushing a wine, which you need to know about grapes, you need to know which part of the vineyard that they were grown in, whether it be north, south, east, or west, because that has that plays a factor in how sweet or dry and the taste. It's so many different things that go into creating wine. Yeah. And the quality of wine that you're gonna create. Even if you're importing, exporting, it's so many different things. And it's not for you. You keep asking me, when you ask me how, sometimes I look back and I say, I don't even know. Like, it's so big. When it's just a shocker, right? When you look back and you tell me you just finished school, and I'm just like, you look back at it and you're like, man, I don't even know how I did it. Like, I don't even know how I worked so hard to get this degree or get this certificate, but somehow you did it. Yeah. So as far as putting things together, it was definitely a lot of steps. Licensing is key. Every state is different. As far as licensing and permitting and different things that you need to do. As far as if you're going to have your own vineyard, if you're going to work with a vineyard that can help you produce your wine, if they want to work with you. Financing is a whole nother ball game. It may look, financing is a whole nother ball game. Creating a wine and getting as far as funding for it, or you doing it, it definitely can get costly. I believe in people. So I believe if you really want something, if you watch this and you heard me drop some gems or say anything that stood out to you that make you want a wine, I believe that you can have it. I believe that if you're willing to work for it, you can absolutely have anything that you want. I watched this little video reel the other day, and it was Kanye West, and it was talking about, this was in his early years, and he was just talking about how he felt that he could do anything. Did you see that? Oh, that was you? I saw it.
You probably saw it on somebody else's, but I posted that.
But yeah, that was, that's my concept in life. Like, I believe, I believe that I can absolutely do anything. I believe that I can go in any industry. If it speaks to me and if it's in me for me to create it, I know that I can do it. There's nothing or no one that can tell me no. And if it's that concept where somebody wants a wine or a spirit or something like that, and they say, this is what I want, then you can do it. Yeah. You don't need to give me no notes. Like, you can do it.
Yeah, did you get a lot of people telling you, like, putting doubts in you, basically, and just telling you how, because alcohol is a pretty saturated space or whatever, so I'm pretty sure you had a lot of doubters, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? You know what I mean? Did you get some of that?
I'm sure I did, but I don't care. Like, I do. It was one person that I remember. I don't remember him because I don't know him, but he was in my DM. It was this guy, and he was like, how are you going to sell that wine? Your wine is overpriced. You're just coming into this industry. You think you know what you're doing. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I felt, my mom is like an oracle. So I felt her energy like in me. And I had to go in, and I was just letting him know, let me tell you something, sir. You about to see me do amazing things all over this world. It's not, I was just letting him know, like, you don't even know who you talking to. Like, you don't even know the power that I possess as a queen, sir. You're going to see what this wine is about to do. Everything you're telling me, it doesn't matter, because you don't know. And, it was like I could tell it was an older man who maybe had been in wine. So he felt like he could just tell me like what, what was going to happen because what he had been through. But other than that, I radiate sunshine. I radiate light. So I'm a light bringer. So I don't hear people if they're telling me no. Like, I don't see them. Like, I'm literally like tunnel vision. And if you're not on that same wavelength, then I can't even like speak to you. If you're a naysayer, I'm sure they're out there. Yeah. I'm sure it's people with like tons of stuff to say. I'm sure people, because the wine industry can be very cutthroat, especially if you're new in wine, or you're not like, if you're like a wine, because wine is like, can be snooty, in the sense of like, hey, I had this level of wine education, or, this is my wine, this is my vineyard, or something like that. And I let them know, like, coming in, I told this other lady who was in wine, I said, listen here, sis, I can't come into this industry being like anybody that you done seen, because I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them me, and I'm gonna give them us, because Black people are absolutely amazing. Everything that we touch turns into gold.
Facts.
And I'm gonna ride with the people who are gonna ride with me, and I'm gonna give them that, because I'm not coming in here trying to be like anybody else's wine or anybody else's spirits or products, because I'm not good at that. I have to be authentically me, and I have to give them authentically us. From our music to our hair to our dress to our style, everything about us is amazing. And that's all over the world. So that's what I'm gonna give them with our wine. Now, if they don't like it, then this won't be for them. Like, you keep giving them what you're gonna give them, and I'm gonna give them what I'm gonna give them. Yeah. And I hope we both make it.
Yeah. With that being said, man, thank you so much. Oh, one more question before I let you go.
Sure.
How did it feel to be featured on Black Enterprise, see you on Afrotec and all that?
How did it feel? It's good. Like, it felt amazing. I think for me and my publicist, like, we've been at this for, people think I've been in this so long. Like, they think I've been in this for a long time.
I did too. You said 2020. I'm thinking you been doing this.
No, it's been 9 months.
Wow.
Yes, it's been 9 months. So just imagine all of this happening in 9 months. So anything, if you start with zero, if you start with nothing, if you start one bottle of wine, I knew from the first time when we sold that first bottle, I said, oh shoot. We done sold the first one. If I could sell one, I could sell 1 million. Like, I know we can do this.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that article, it was just like it was joy, but I'm like hard on myself. So I'm like, let's go. What else? What you got? What else you got? You got to give it to them. You got to give them more. So it was absolutely amazing. It's an honor. What I see is, I love, like, these are publications that celebrate Black excellence. And so that is the amazing part. That's the starlight to be a part of, like, that we're a part of a culture that is creating history, from our Black publications to our, again, Black owned clothes and Black owned shoes, Black owned, whether it be podcasts. Like, this is huge, because this is that legacy that we're looking at, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Like, we paved the way for whatever anybody else is going to do. I don't know if you remember sitting at home or coming home and watching 106 in Park. I do. Yeah. And, just to hear them talk now, they're like, wow, this is what they did for the culture then. So for me, I feel like, God, this is what we're doing for the culture now. Yeah. So we have to have these amazing publications. We have to have people like you. We have to have people like me. We all play a part in the big picture of what we're creating in our legacy.
Yeah. So go ahead, shout your Instagram and all your socials out, where they can buy the wine at.
Okay. Well, wonderful. I've truly enjoyed being on here. My name is Camillya Masunda. I'm the founder and CEO of Ebony Wine and Spirits. Please follow us and support us on all of our social media handles. Instagram, Ebony Wine and Spirits, Facebook, Ebony Wine and Spirits, Twitter, Ebony Wine. and definitely follow us on TikTok as well. Please be sure to purchase your wine at ebonywineandspirits.com and stay connected, because we're always doing all types of giveaways and celebrating different podcast creators, different influencers. So just stay connected.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Well, there you have it, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, make sure you guys go support her, follow her, follow me, Black and Brown Success. All of our stuff is going to be in the description. And yeah, y'all have a good day.
Peace.